This week on inCycle, the next generation of ultra-competitive sprint stars.
Cav was the first one to really start sprinting aero. I went in the wind tunnel probably a year and a half ago and we actually tested all the positions.
As well as Caleb Ewan, we'll hear from Boy van Poppel of Trek Segafredo.
I really enjoy sprinting. Sometimes it can be really dangerous when you're in the last 10k.
Another Tour de France is finished, but what about next year's race?
With the rebirth of the Tour of Germany, and I'm quite sure we will have again these huge crowds we had in Germany. 10 or 15 years ago, it was Yorkshire.
Before that though, it's time to visit London. The 13th round of the UCI Women's World Tour took place in London with the Prudential Ride London Classique. The race, having grown from a short circuit around St James's Park to 12 laps of 5.5 kilometres, now took in some of the British capital's most iconic landmarks. 66 kilometres in total, and a great spectacle for fans and riders alike.
I think it's good to have a large variety of races to give opportunities to the different kinds of riders that make up the women's peloton. So to have races like the course and Ride London that are more in city centres, it favours the sprinters and it's great for fans as well.
It's a huge race for women's cycling. It's great that, you know, from the start of the race it's on TV so everyone can watch us racing and how we attack the race, how we go into the race. It's really important for women's cycling. We've got a really strong team here. Obviously, Chloe won last week in La Course, so you know she's going to be out there to try and get the win today. And you know we've also got other cards to play. We've got a lot of strong attackers, so you know we can just go out there and pretty much play every card, which is good.
I'm very excited to race on these really beautiful streets, and I mean, very, very likely it'll come down to a sprint finish, but really expecting a fast, hard race. And so Silence Pro Cycling is excited to come out and give it our best shot. And we have Carmen Small here on board as well today. So it's kind of a little new add to our team. So we're just super excited to be here. Expecting a really exciting race. It's a technical course. There's some big prize money on the line. There's strong teams here. So yeah, it's going to be a good race.
I feel really good. It's nice to be back sort of on home soil. My family's here and I'm actually racing against my sisters today as well, so it's nice to be back home.
Home or away, the race was down to be won for the sprinters. And once it got underway, it didn't disappoint. An extremely technical course made it a tough day in the saddle though, with not only World Tour points up for grabs, but also the biggest financial prize pot women's cycling had to offer. That even made the intermediate sprints an exciting showcase for the public. And on that note, Lucinda Brand ended up being queen of the sprints. But the biggest prize of them all went to High-Tech Products' Kirsten Wild. She ended up being faster than the rest of the finish line, on the mile and in front of Buckingham Palace.
This is a fabulous stage. There were so many people out today, and it's just really a good show for women. And yeah, as you can see, we raced our bikes. I mean, what did we do? An hour and a half in 60K? I mean, that was pretty quick. So yeah, I hope we gave everyone a good show.
Yeah, it was really fast. Yeah, when you're in front, it was fine, but when you are too far back, then it was really hard. It was so hectical with the U-turn and the corners, and yeah. With 1K to go, actually, I was really good with Leah, and then, yeah, we lost each other in that U-turn, and then, yeah, I couldn't do anything anymore.
It was pretty hard. I was alone, so I was just trying to use other people's trains, and it seemed like no one was actually doing a lead out. It seemed chaos out there, but maybe not. I was just so tired. Yeah, it was hard. It was strung out. It's a technical last, 500 meters. To the 500 meters to go, and then it's a long sprint. So I think I was pretty spun out. I mean, I'm not a pure sprinter, so it's hard for me to keep a high cadence and be out of the saddle.
Actually, I felt a little bit tired. I had a really hard week on the track recently, so I felt good, but I also was a bit tired. But yeah, this race wasn't too long, so I think that was my advantage. I was really far behind in the last 500 meters in the tunnel, and then I thought like, oh no, I'm really too far. And I thought, okay, yeah, if I don't do it, I regret that I didn't put all my effort in going to the good position. So I full gas past everybody, and yeah, it was good enough, and I could win.
So Kirsten Wild would come out on top in the electric sprint finale, her second victory of the season after picking up a stage win at the Amgen Tour of California. Nina Kessler and Leah Kirkman would round out the top three. In the UCI Women's World Tour, Megan Guarnier still remains at the top of the ranking. Teammate Lizzie Armitstead is in second. Leah Kirkman is now up to third. After a Tour de France that saw the re-emergence of Mark Cavendish, cycling's great sprinting generation seemed to suggest it was as strong as ever. But a running theme of this season has been the emergence of the next lot of fast men.
In Colombia, the races are very difficult, and almost everyone wants to climb. But I'm more interested in winning than climbing. So on the flat stages in Colombia, when the possibility came to win them, I was always working hard to do that.
When I first really followed the Tour de France was back in 2003, and it was the year that Baden Cook and Robbie McEwen were really fighting out for the green jersey, and I was really following that competition closely, obviously being two Australians as well. It was a pretty cool thing. I actually didn't really see myself as a sprinter up until I was probably 17, 18. I used to always think I was more of a climber growing up, but yeah, it was only, I guess, in the past 3 or 4 years that I've really started leaning towards sprinting. And
Cavendish's influence is evident in both Caleb Ewan and Fernando Gavidia's stories. The former's seriously low aero style catching the eye during his 2 Tour Down Under stage victories in January.
Yeah, I think, Cav was the first one to really start sprinting aero. I went in the wind tunnel probably a year and a half ago, and we actually tested all the positions. It's not really rocket science. Lower you go, the faster you're probably going to go, or the more aerodynamic you are. But to actually see the difference that it makes, it makes you realise, it's actually going to be a massive benefit for me to go lower. So I think that was a bit of an eye-opener as well.
Like Cavendish, Gavidia is a track racer at heart. The two will even fight it out for Olympic gold in the Omnium. And it was after impressing as a stagiaire that Cavendish encouraged his then Ethics Quickstep team to sign the young Colombian.
I was alongside Cavendish and others, and it was difficult for me to think that this was actually my job. But then my opportunity came. I spoke with Mark Renshaw, and in the end I did well, and won against Andre Greipel, who's a fantastic racer. I really enjoyed it, not just because I won, but also because I won against the rider who won the most stages during last year's Tour de France.
Even at this early stage of their careers, the two's ambitions differ. While Ewan hopes to reproduce the success of his heroes McEwen and Cook, Gavidia has a more unusual dream for a pure sprinter.
I'm curious about racing on cobblestones. Those kind of races are impossible to finish without falling or hurting yourself, so I'm intrigued by them. They bring something different to cycling. Often I don't like stages that are plain and quite boring, or don't add anything. So these kind of races on cobbles require special skills, more concentration.
As the Gavidia and Ewan rivalry begins to take shape, there may be a very different beast about to join them, and the rider in question isn't your archetypal sprinter.
Yeah, I'm almost 2 meters tall, 199 to be exact, and a little bit over 90 kilos heavy. My biggest advantage is maximum power output. I'm not as aerodynamic as Caleb, for example, is, but on the other side I can use also my body and my weight to push against others and to stay in the position I want to have. And So this helps me actually to follow my lead out. And if it's a flat sprint and it's a really high pace, I think, yeah, there are not many guys which can put out such a speed.
At this stage, Valskeid still only represents potential. A second place at the German National Championship, sandwiched between Andre Greipel and Marcel Kittel in June, however, hinted at such ability. Yet, as one of 6 Jan Alpecin riders injured in January's training camp crash, much of this year has involved sitting and watching his rivals.
No, there's for sure no frustration, because I think if you had this accident or not, it's still really good how the two of them perform. And I've got lots of respect for the results they already got, but on the other hand, I'm just still lucky, and I'm just happy to be able to race my bike again, because it was really not clear, and this is everything I think about. And yeah, I just keep working on myself, because for sure you see the concurrence, you see the other sprinters, but actually if you do your work, you will be there. I wanted to get back because I couldn't accept that my chances as a professional sportsman were gone because of a woman who changed the road direction, which was for sure a big tragedy. But yeah, I tried to work on, and I'm really happy to be able to do races again, but there's still a lot to do.
While Valskeid's breakthrough year is on hold for another season, the next sprint generation is already here.
I am Boy van Poppel, and I'm a professional cyclist at Trek Segafredo. This is the 3rd year in the team, and I'm somebody who can really find his way in the classics, especially as a domestique. I can really pilot someone to the front of the race, where it gets hard, to get him there at the exact moment that he needs to be there.
Trek Segafredo's Boy van Poppel is part of a family tradition, with both himself and his younger brother Danny following their father Jean-Paul into the peloton.
My father was a big example for me, but I realised pretty fast that I would not be able to copy him. I am trying to make the best of everything, and I really enjoy cycling. My father has always supported me, but never pushed me. He had to learn everything by himself. And I also have that feeling, that I had to learn it all by myself. I think you can be proud of yourself, and I am.
Rather than pursuing a career as an out-and-out sprinter like his father, Boy is a crucial member of a lead-out train, a role the Dutchman relishes.
I really enjoy sprinting. Sometimes it can be really dangerous. And when you're in the last 10k, then that gliding through the peloton, I really enjoy doing that. To overtake the other riders without any problems or effort, then I really enjoy that. But in the classics, it's more hard and serious work. I'm not getting a lot of chances to go for myself, because I'm with a big team and I have very strong sprinters with me. But I'm doing that with a lot of joy, and I really enjoy doing that. I have to prepare myself like a sprinter, have to mentally charge myself. I think I have to prepare myself even more than the sprinter itself. I have to know the parkour, where he is during the finale. If he's not there in the finale, then I haven't done my job properly. So I feel responsible to pilot him very well.
And whilst not finishing the sprint himself, Boy has certainly inherited his father's sprinting instinct.
I know that if they're in my way in the last 10k, then they get a push from me. But I see myself as a nice and clean sprinter. I do everything nice and easy. But that's also the advantage as a lead-out man. Because if you do everything on just power and hard, then the sprinter can't follow you. But I think this really fits me.
Want dan kan diegene niet volgen achter je. Dus ja, het past wel echt bij me, denk ik.
The role of a lead-out man is an important one, with the team relying on Boy to deliver their sprinters in prime position.
Ze geven hem ook echt vertrouwen en
they really trust me, and that gives me confidence. Of course, you can't always do things right, but if I do, then I notice that they are really proud of me. So yes, I'm going to work with a smile.
Ja, ik ga met plezier naar mijn werk. Die ploeg die heeft echt volledig
in the sprints and everything, also when it's not going as planned, and then they support me fully.
Dan steunen ze mij volledig.
The best moment I can still remember, I had to leave the Giro. I finished more than an hour too late, and while riding I saw all the buses leave. So, all the buses were gone already, and around the corner our bus is still there. And my teammates, not all of them, but Giacomo Nizzolo and Alafacci just waited for me. And the best thing is, I said, "Oh, thank you, you guys were waiting for me." So they said, "Of course, that is normal."
Dat je op mij hebt gewacht en toen zei
But then I said, "No way," because all the buses of other teams had gone already, and the riders had got into the car. Then they said, "Boy, those are teams. This is a family." That was really nice.
Nou, dat vond ik toch wel echt heel mooi om te zien.
The cycling was really in a bad place in Germany, and it was not easy becoming a pro in the first place, and then also always having these questions or having that really bad image as a professional cyclist, which was not my fault, but the fault of the generation before me, and that was not the best time to be a pro cyclist, but now it's much better.
For a German like Simon Geschke, being a professional cyclist has been a frustrating business in the last 10 years. Boasting some of the fastest men in the peloton, German winners haven't exactly been in short supply of late. What has been is support from home.
Everybody was crazy about cycling, and this really went until, 2005, 2006. And then when all the affairs came up, everybody was talking about doping, and also our big star fell. The deception was really high in Germany, so we could see it immediately in our spectator ratings. We also at that time broadcasted the late German tour for 8 years, and also there the numbers dropped so much that, well, anyway, they organized and we had to stop. Nobody was watching it anymore, but at the end we stopped in 2011.
As cycling dropped off public television over the next 3 tours, the 16 German stage wins would go virtually unnoticed in their homeland. That was until Marcel Kittel and then teammate John Degenkolb stepped in to try to persuade TV to return to the tour.
We just gave our input and tried to convince them that, the fans definitely want to see what we are doing here in France, and we see ourselves, of course, in a position where we have a lot of responsibility, and we try to be a good example all the time, and that's what we are doing. And I'm happy to have ARD back broadcasting the tour, and I also hope that they will extend the contracts, because now after this tour it's ending the contract, and next year we have the start in Germany. So I think the signs are pretty good, but there's no decision yet. So far as I'm concerned.
Last year we came back with our live coverage, and we are not live the whole day, but we do always do the last 2 hours. And the spectators are coming back, but it takes some time. Of course, they weren't used. We were away for 3 years, and then we came back, and now it's slightly going back again. It takes some time. But we don't have one who is riding against Christopher Froome, which would help us a lot. The Germans have good sprinters, but that's it at the moment.
It's hard to imagine public TV won't be back again next year, particularly with the Tour's Grand Depart in Dusseldorf. In addition, the organisation behind the Tour, ASO, is bringing back another casualty of Germany's troubled years. The Deutschland Tour returns in 2018.
Germany is a very important country in Europe, in the world, and in Europe. That's the same for sports. You can't think about sport in Europe without Germany. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was such a passion for cycling, for the Tour de France in Germany. Last time we went there with 6 stages in 2005, there were huge crowds, enthusiasm. It was just unbelievable and unforgettable. After the bad years, all disappeared, and now I'm very happy, I'm glad. I'm proud to say there is a rebirth. There will be the rebirth of the Tour of Germany, and I'm quite sure we will have again these huge crowds we had in Germany. In Germany 10 or 15 years ago, it was Yorkshire.
What's more, Germany could soon have a second World Tour team, Bora Argon 18. Even with Peter Sagan, cycling's biggest personality, confirmed to be joining them, the boss still hopes they can stay German.
For me it's important, the German core and the German values and the German structures, and we would like to set up our team next year of the routes what we have already. We would like to send the application to the UCI, but the final decision is in the UCI. But I'm very optimistic we can fulfill all our the criteria what we have to do. And yeah, then if we have the license, we are part of the first division in cycling. For sure, it's nice for Germany. Then we have 2 teams in Germany, and we have also the Grand Depart next year, and in 2018 the Deutschland Tour coming back. So from this point, all very positive for the German cycling.
That's all for this week. Join us next time, but until then, keep up to date with us on social media.